How many times have you set a New Year's resolution promising yourself this is your year, only to find yourself right back where you started a few months later? We all know that feeling. You get that surge of motivation on January 1st. You're ready to become a whole new person, and you promise yourself that this year you're going to change your life. And then life happens. That motivation fades, and by March, you're still the same person. And now you're frustrated, upset, and wondering why you can't make any real changes in your life. But what if I told you the problem isn't you? It's not your motivation, it's not your work ethic, you're not lazy, and it's not that you don't want it bad enough. You're just focusing on the completely wrong thing. In this video, I'm going to share the one strategy that will actually transform your life this year. And it has nothing to do with what you do, but everything to do with who you become. And once you get that part right, everything stops being so hard and starts falling into place. So, why does this happen every year? Why do we give up on our biggest goals? It's simple. Most resolutions focus on the outcome, not the identity. We set action based goals like run a marathon, get promoted, lose 20 pounds. But here's where we miss the mark. You can't maintain actions that contradicts who you believe you are. Let me repeat that. You can't maintain actions that contradicts who you believe you are. Let me give you an example. For years, I struggled with alcohol. Every January, I would tell myself the same thing. I'm going to stop drinking. It would last a few months, then I would cave, and every time I did, I felt like a failure. Then the next year would come and I would do the same thing, set the same goal. And guess what? Same cycle, same result. It was really frustrating. But what finally changed everything wasn't more willpower for me. I stopped trying to quit drinking, and instead, I started telling myself something different. I told myself that I'm not someone who drinks. And when I stepped into that identity, everything shifted for me. I stopped buying alcohol. It became easier for me to say no when someone offered me a drink. I stopped putting myself in environments that revolved around drinking. It wasn't the behavior that changed, it was the identity that changed. There was no longer friction between who I believed I was and what I was trying to do. You see, I thought that just by having a goal and trying to change habits would give me the results that I wanted. Maybe you've done this with fitness or with other goals. You say something like, I'm going to be fit and healthy. So you set a goal to go to the gym every day and you force yourself to go. But deep down, you still see yourself as someone who hates working out or who feels like working out is hard. So every trip to the gym, every workout feels like a fight against yourself. And eventually, you get tired of fighting yourself. You end up skipping a day. Then that becomes a week. Then that becomes a month. And guess what? You're back to your old habits and your old self. That's because your actions don't match your identity. So, how do we break this cycle this year? Well, we just flip the script. Stop asking yourself, what do I want to achieve this year? And start asking yourself, who do I want to be this year? Instead of forcing new habits onto your old identity, you choose the identity first and then you let your actions prove it. You decide who you are before the results show up. If you decide I'm someone who takes care of her body, then going for a walk isn't a chore anymore. It's just what you do. If you tell yourself that you are a writer, then grabbing a notebook and writing a few pages every single day isn't going to feel hard anymore. You just know it's part of who you are and you do it. That's the shift. When you stop forcing a habit and you start acting in alignment with your identity, things start to change. When you rely on habits alone, every action feels like it's an option, like it's a chore. You can skip it. You can justify it. You can start again tomorrow. But when it's tied to your identity, it feels different. It's because identity raises your standard and sets the baseline for your behavior. You're not relying on willpower or motivation anymore. What you're doing is you're protecting who you are through your behavior, your actions, and your habits. That's why real change doesn't start with what you want to achieve, it starts with who you want to be. If this resonates with you and you are ready to step into a new identity, I want to help you take the next step. I've created a free newsletter specifically for women who are tired of the same old patterns and ready to reinvent themselves without throwing their entire life away. I share the strategies, mindset shifts, and real life examples that show you how to become who you want to be while building on what you've already created. The link is in the comment box below. So, how do you actually create an identity first transformation? Well, the first step is getting clear on what you want and then building the identity and habits to support it. And I'll show you how to do that. Here's a worksheet that I created specifically for this video to help you focus on an identity first transformation. To get the worksheet, click on the link below in the comment box, enter your email address, and then click the link to open the file. Before doing anything else, I want you to make sure you create a copy of that file to your Google Drive so you can start working on it. Let's walk through it. Hi guys, so this is the training portion of the video where you download the worksheet and then I walk you through on how to complete this. For this worksheet, we're going to create the identity that you're stepping into to transform your life this year. To the left, you're going to see a few tabs. You're going to see a tab that's called example. That's the example I created for you guys to reference from. And then you have a second tab called the identity formula, where we'll talk more about it as we go through the steps. And then you have the worksheet that you're going to complete yourself. And then you have a section for reflection. So to make this stick and make this work, you need to collect evidence and have proof that things are actually changing for you, that you're actually stepping into your identity by the choices you make and the habits and behaviors that you embody. And so that's why I created this section for you to write those things down. You can choose to do it separately in a journal or in a notebook, but I thought it would be nice just to have everything together. So you do have the option of using this document if you want to. But let's go back to the example because I'm going to show you how to do this. So with each worksheet that I give you, most of the time you'll have a visual element to it because I have found that adding visuals, it ties everything together and brings things to life. And so I included a section for you to insert 3 images of the identity that you're stepping into to transform your life this year. And for me, I just included a picture about health, money, and then confidence. Let me show you how to insert pictures when you're doing your own worksheet. So let's go to your worksheet and we're going to insert an image. So you go to insert image and then you have all these options to choose from. You can upload from your computer, you can search the web, you can go through your Google Drive, photos, or camera. Even by URL, I've never tried that, so that's interesting. But let's search the web and let's pick a hiking picture. So you click on it, you click insert, and that didn't work. I think there's something wrong with my webpage. I might need to refresh it. But for now, let's say that it's working. After you insert the image, you want to make sure you go to the second option here. And then you choose the second option. You make the margin 0. And then you make sure that it moves the text. That way, when you're writing things don't move around. And as you're adding 2 other images, it's not ruining the layout. So that's how you insert an image. Let's go back to my example. So after you insert your 3 images, then you want to start creating your identity. And to create your identity, you want to reverse engineer the process. You want to focus on the goal you're trying to achieve, and then you're going to create the identity of the person who achieves that goal. So, for example, I want to lose 50 pounds. Well then, let's create the identity of the woman who's able to lose 50 pounds. And for this, there is a formula that I want you guys to follow. Go to the second tab, and at the top is the formula. So you want to follow this formula, and in each of these brackets, I have them explained down below. I also gave you an example of how to fill it out. And after you've identified your identity, you're going then to just write down a few habits to support that identity. And the habits are up to you, what you think you're capable of. So if she's a woman who's intentional with her health and moves daily and plans her meals, then the habit that you have is maybe she walks 10 minutes every day, or she meal plans, or she eats Whole Foods, whatever that habit or habits may be, you get to choose. But that's how you create the identity. And then once you create the identity, you want to start implementing some of those habits into your life. This isn't just watching videos, writing things down, and then forgetting about these things. You're actually going to act on these things and start implementing these things into your life. So every single day, what you're going to do is you're going to pick out a habit from the list that you created and start acting on them. And that's how you do it. For each goal that you have for yourself, create that identity and then create the habit that supports that identity. My recommendation for you is to only do a maximum of 3. Any more can be overwhelming, and the more you have, the less likely you're going to do it. Remember, this isn't about quantity, this is quality. So focus on 3 or less, and I would even recommend that you just focus on 1. And focus on that one identity, those habits, and that goal. And then when things become natural, create another one. And after that one, do another one. But if you add too much too fast, it becomes overwhelming and you're less likely to do it. So that's all I have for you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.